They like trap music, but that's not me. They like pop music, but that's not me. I'm the baby face that will put you in your place, set you up, take it safe, then vanish without a trace. They like Balenciaga, but that's not me. They like Dolce Gabbana, but that's not me. I'm the baby face that will put you in your place, take your girl to your face.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is the fight that happened last night between Vergil Ortiz Jr. and Maurice Hooker. Vergil Ortiz Jr. was victorious. Maurice Hooker wasn't able to continue in the 7th round. After the fight, he said he wants Terrence Crawford or even Earl Spence, but mainly Terrence Crawford. Trill Dollar Bill, what were your thoughts on the performance and Vergil Ortiz calling out Terrence Crawford?
Like this kid. Been high on this kid for a while. I remember he was one of my, put him in there for one of my prospects. Look, they haven't even been moving this kid light. He's been in there with some tough guys already, you know, the Samuel Vargases and all that. They've been moving him exactly how they should, and this kid has been moving with flying colors. I thought he was going to get Maurice Hooker out there in the 8th round. He got him out in the 7th, right? And he hit him so hard it made him hold his hand. That's what I see. I didn't see him hurt. I seen him hit him so hard. He thought about it and he was like, my hand hurt. You know what I'm saying? That's what it looked like. He was just beating on him. Maurice Hooker, he's a warrior. He got hot, but he just fought the wrong game plan, and this young man just wouldn't be denied. He's just a force. Another thing is too, this kid is big. Vergil Ortiz is big, and if you're gonna let him tee off on you and hit you anywhere on your body, it's gonna hurt. You know, was that 17 wins with 17 KOs? This keep him a couple more fights. He's definitely not ready for. I'm going to the next one. The TC, when they mentioned the TC, he's a humble kid. He knows that he got work to do. He know he's learning. Look, he just wants to get in there with the best. If the fight presents itself, he ain't really calling nobody out. But if the fight presents itself, why not? You know, that's what he's there to do. He's there to fight. You know, but he's not a trash talker. He's not one of those. He's a humble kid. He loves the sport of boxing. I don't think he's ready for a fight with Terrence Crawford. You know, but I do feel like he could be the future, you know, in that division once these other guys move on to 154. Let this kid sit around here and get these other fights that, you know, y'all putting TC in there with. Let him fight those guys, you know what I'm saying? And build him up. And eventually he's going to be a champion at 147. This is just a different time. I just don't put him in there with a TC who's too seasoned, you know? This kid can have a wonderful career, you know what I'm saying? Just if the Oscar De La Hoya does it right, he can have a wonderful career. I just think the TC fight is too soon. You know, I think he still needs a little, because Maurice Hooker, he's not. Look, he got his face in there with a Maurice Hooker, right? You know what I'm saying? So there's still things that this young man has to learn, you know, but, you know, give him like a couple more fights. He can be a star. Just push him right. Just don't throw him in the lion's den. These is kids where, you know, we can do a Canelo with this kid. You know, we can build him, you know what I'm saying? Put him in there with the right match. Eventually we can get a star out of this kid if we do it right, you know, but I like Vergil Ortiz and he's a great kid. He's really just a great kid, you know, very humble, and I like him.
All right, Conspiracy G.
Yeah, his performance was great. You know me, I really like when guys throw accurate hooks. You know, he was throwing mean hooks to that dude's body. You know, like it's funny. Like Hooker wasn't throwing any hooks; he was just throwing like, you know, jabs and straight rights. But you know, he wasn't landing too many. And I don't think. Like, I know the commentators were saying that, you know, Ortiz hit him with like a hook that messed up his arm. I don't think that actually happened. I think Hooker went for a hook and landed wrong, and you kind of seen it, and it was like his arm kind of went like this, and then he got hit, and then he went down holding his arm. So I don't think it was from a punch from Ortiz. I think he landed a hook wrong. how ironic Hooker throwing proper hooks. You know what I mean? But yeah, but nonetheless, man, this is where I differ with Trill. But I see Trill's argument. Like, develop him. But however, you know how it is, man. Once you get developed and fights don't happen, I think this is the best time to get TC. And there's no slight to TC. I just feel like TC would take the fight. We know Eddie will give him the fight. You know what I mean? Well, De La Hoya, I don't know.
Both. De La Hoya's done it before, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think they'll make that fight happen. You know what I mean? So now there's a strong chance that Ortiz will lose. However, he's going to get an opportunity to fight one of the best in the division. And it could be like a Canelo situation where you're fighting one of the best. If you lose, you can learn from that defeat. So I'm all for that fight, and the way he throws hooks, man, I want to see how TC responds to that. So I think it'll be a good fight nonetheless. Even if he does get swept every round, it'll just be good to finally see TC with somebody that's coming to do damage, So I like this kid, man. And if they can pull that off, and not to mention he has a good team around him. The Garcias, they do good business, man. Like when it comes to boxing, they know how to develop fighters, So I'm sure Mikey's giving them pointers and everything. Mikey's brothers is helping, So this kid, man, he got potential, And I just don't want, because I hate boxing politics where we never see the real fights because we go develop them, and then when we get the development, people are like, oh, I don't want to fight him because he doesn't have a belt, or I don't want to fight him because I got to do this, or I got to do that. It's like, come on, man, just make these fights, man. So if he gets that opportunity, TC says, yeah, I'll take him because who's TC about to fight right now? It ain't going to be Spence. You know what I mean? So you might as well go with Ortiz. You feel me? And yeah, man, I would love to see that fight.
General.
All right. Back in, what was it? June, July, when boxing first came back after, the whole shenanigans. Not shenanigans, I don't mean, but I didn't mean to use that term. I'm sorry, world. After the world-inflicted trauma, I would say he was set to fight Ryan Garcia, if I'm not mistaken, and that fight didn't happen. So I'm glad Ryan didn't fight him because Vergil looked like a monster last night. He looked like a different breed, like for a 22, 23-year-old kid out there just throwing. What he did to Maurice was spectacular. Like they say he passed the test and he got A+, 100%. He passed it 100% with 100%. No infraction, no failures, nothing. No wrong answers, anything like that. And this kid is just on a different level. And I don't want to go to G route, but at 23 and he's this vicious, might win. Some people might want to say, let's get him tested. Let's see what's going on in his system. Like, is it clear? Is it clean or not? But Vergil, you I'm a fan after what I saw last night.
Fight or drug test?
Looks like accuser of cheating.
I'm not trying to accuse, but G, you took the words out of my mouth.
I don't think he cheated. Hey, hold on. Even though I think all fighters cheat sooner or later, that performance, I don't believe he on anything. So I'm not saying that.
I'm just saying if he was supposed to fight,
you know what I mean?
Hold on, he was supposed to fight at. Let me get I don't want to misspeak when I'm talking about the rankings in the divisional weights. He was supposed to fight Ryan Garcia at lightweight, junior lightweight, and he's now at welter, or he's at welter taking out some of the big challenges. I'm just saying it just the math don't make sense, but hey, you do
know that Teofimo, Lopez,
they're like 10, 15 pounds apart.
They struggling just to stay at 135.
Yeah,
like
true.
147 ain't that far off. You know that,
True.
right?
I know 147 for a human being, an adult human being is like.
Hold on, Ned. It's literally 8 pounds.
All right, so how about this? Let's just, all right, Ned. For example, you do know that the guys that fight at 135, right?
Yeah.
In between fights, they walk around at like 160 pounds.
That's what I'm saying.
You know that, right? And then for the fight, when they get in shape, they get down to 135, right?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is basically for some people, it's actually
Oh.
a benefit not to have to physically drain yourself to lose that much weight.
All right. So Virgil, I take that back. Virgil, I'm a fan. I'm gonna say this loud and clear. I'm a fan of you, and you looking real. You're looking like you're on the right path. That's all I'm gonna say. You're on the way up, and these dudes is gonna be moving up just to avoid you. And you're looking very. What you did last night was spectacular, and that's all I'm gonna say. Salute to Vergil Ortiz, yo, for passing that test.
Yeah, salute to me for listening to your logic.
Shut your mouth.
I'm
Shut your
sorry.
mouth. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Hey, yo, salute the general and watch him out, G.
Yeah.
So, in regards to the performance, I'm not high on Maurice Hooker. I think Maurice Hooker is a solid fighter, but like he's not special. To me, I never looked at Maurice Hooker and felt like, oh man, like this is the guy. I felt like Ramirez was going to beat him. He did. I felt like Ortiz was going to beat him. He did. Maurice Hooker is good for business, though. He's entertaining. He's going to take a good shot for some rounds. I do hear what Trill's saying. I saw Maurice Hooker breaking down, and like those body shots were starting to take a toll. And then Maurice Hooker threw a punch, and then the next thing you know, he goes down and he says he can't continue. Now, I'm not accusing the man of making anything up, but what I am saying is if that injury didn't occur, I believe the fight was going to be stopped shortly anyway. So, like, you know, you can't sell me on the fact that Maurice Hooker was about to pull off some miraculous comeback had that injury not happened. He was on the verge of being stopped. In addition to that, we don't know if all the shots he blocked with his arms was the reason why his arm gave out when he landed the punch, because Bomac was telling him, stop blocking all these punches with your arms. Like it's gonna eventually like take his toll.
And not to just to pack off of you, he wasn't complaining about his elbow in there. He said it was his hand. He changed it up a couple times. You know what I'm saying? It was his elbow, and then when he was at the end, it was my hand popped out. You know what I'm saying? He just had excuses. Go ahead, Katie.
No, but you're right. So for me, it's not like, you know, whatever happened, he couldn't continue. But like from what I was watching, he was breaking down, and you can just see that like he was going to be stopped at some point in that fight. He put up a good showing. He was successful against Vergil Ortiz. And I'll get into that. But at the end of the day, Vergil Ortiz smashed the Hooker. That's what you do. Now, when that's what you do. You smash hookers. Like so. Now at the end of the fight, when Vergil Ortiz and they're talking about Vergil Ortiz with Terrence Crawford, Maurice Hooker said he's not on that level yet. Like Vergil Ortiz is not on that level yet. And I've heard that before. I've heard fighters say that before. About someone. I think was it it may have been Canelo. I would have to check. Someone beat DeMarcus Corley, and I think it was Canelo or someone, and they asked, it was a fight, and they asked, was the guy ready for like the elite fighters in the division? And Chop Corley said, nah, he's not on that level yet. It's common for fighters to, you know, but remember, you're asking Maurice Hooker about Vergil Ortiz fighting Terrence Crawford, and he just lost. So my assessment is he probably isn't on that level yet. I think TC smacks around Maurice Hooker in sparring like all the time. I think like TC's like, okay, light work today. Let me get Maurice Hooker for some sparring. Like that's what I think TC does.
That man wants to work.
TC to hit the heavy bag and did it. And TC put in 30 rounds, and then he's like, all right, I feel like sparring light. Give me Hooker. Like
after he abuses Shakur, you know what I mean?
He brings them all in. He said, you know what?
Give me all the good work.
Give me the ESPN stable and bring him over here. And when he wants a tough day, bring Xander Zayas in here. Bring in that. We're gonna go a little tough today. So like, yeah, that's what I think he does. But do I think Vergil Ortiz can beat Terrence Crawford, I favor Terrence Crawford. But Vergil Ortiz has some tools to make it difficult. I mean, I think Vergil Ortiz is better than Cal Velasquez. I think he's better than the version of Kell Brook that TC just beat. So I think he goes in the ring. He makes it interesting. He probably gives a good account of himself, but in the end, TC beats him. This is reminiscent of
and then TC will be crowned the greatest. Look
at what he did. That
guy to the
has
young lion. To the young lion.
TC slayed him.
He had 17 KOs. We slayed him. We did it. Slayed the young lion.
We on 50-50. Man,
they got no wins like that. Yo, so I think it's important for people to understand that, like, when we talk about boxing, we're not in favor of Spence. We're not in favor of Crawford. My position isn't to hate on Spence. My position isn't to hate on Crawford. What you hear me saying about Crawford is because I think he's that good. So, like, I expect him to beat Kell Brook. I expect him to beat Vergil Ortiz. The only question marks I have right now in terms of can Terrence Crawford beat him at 147 is Errol Spence. So that's the fight. Manny Pacquiao, is old. But if he can get the Pacquiao fight, I'm okay with it because at least he gets an argument for Spence. At least he gets to argue more of a percentage that would make him happy. So for that, I'm okay with it. But I think the two guys that can beat each other in that division, it's obvious. So that's why, like, when you're like, oh, I'm not impressed. See Errol Spence will fight Ugas, I'll give him a pass for that. Why? Because Ugas got a belt. Mm-hmm. If Terrence Crawford can somehow get Ugas to pick him, I give him a pass for that. In fact, I would prefer that. I would prefer Ugas fight Crawford so that one, Crawford can get a name under his resume, and two, Crawford can collect another belt. Now it's 2 belts to 2 belts, 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would prefer. But, like, you can't ask me to, like, be oblivious to what I see and to feed into, like, this fanboyism. I can't do it right now. It's not 50-50. So at this particular point in time, right? I think the sad reality is Vergil Ortiz may be thrown in the ring with TC if he can't get the Pacquiao fight. If he prefers Vergil Ortiz to Sean Porter. What are his options? Pacquiao, Porter, Vergil, right? So if he can't get Pacquiao, now we're talking about Thurman, and now we're talking about Sean Porter, and we're talking about Vergil. Well, Porter's already been beaten by Errol Spence Jr., Kell Brook. Beating Vergil Ortiz will probably be more impressive to the boxing world because he was undefeated, 17-0, 17 knockouts. So we're in a situation where Vergil Ortiz may be forced to step it up faster than he should because Terrence Crawford doesn't have any opponents.
Which is crap. Now everything that you said, which is crap, because you want to see this is my beef, right? This is why I love the sport of. I don't knock fighters, right? I love the sport of boxing over the fighters, But in this sport of boxing, you should be trying to challenge yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should be trying to challenge yourself and daring to be great. That's how you be considered a legend. That's how you be considered a great. When you dare to be great, when you challenge yourself. There's no challenge in a TC fighting a young Vergil Ortiz Jr. I don't see it. You let this young man become the star on his own. Let him do his thing. That's just how I feel. Any further from you, gentlemen? Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe and check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros.
You're welcome.